No, I figured so.
Good morning, and welcome to the Crawford County Commissioners Work Section for July 2nd, 2025. We'll start with the coroner's office. I'll actually be presenting that in Scott. It is to ratify the creation of the per diem chief deputy coroner position. Any questions? Okay. Public defender.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm filling in for Wes today.
Hey, Sam.
Hi, nice to meet you. We're asking to ratify the purchase of computer hardware from Dell Technologies in the amount of $12,523.89, which will be reimbursed through the Indigent Defense Grant.
Questions for Sam?
This was actually a prior approval
Yeah,
that we had done, and we delayed it because there were some accounting things to make sure that we were getting correct. The price has gone up a little bit, but not substantially.
Yeah.
So yeah, there should be a thing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sam. You're doing a great job. Good work about you. So
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Correction facility.
Morning, Commissioners.
Yeah.
This morning, requesting permission to have Cleveland Brothers perform an annual generator and load test and annual maintenance service. Cost of this test and service is $2,385, and it is a budgeted item. Item B is request permission to pay Global Correction Security for annual service agreement. Cost of this agreement is $2,300, and this is a budgeted item.
That's the software for the cameras. Is that the?
No, that's the
for
doors. That's all the doors.
Thank you.
And lastly, requesting permission to pay Mobilecom for annual radio support plan. The cost of the plan is $2,789.73, and this is also a budgeted item.
That's the one where they replace your batteries whenever you need, or antennas, anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
That's
Yeah, they do up to a certain amount, but it's much cheaper than that.
what I thought. Thank you. Any questions for Jack? Thank you.
Thank you.
Register reporter.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Beth.
I'm asking that you ratify the purchase of a Toshiba Studio 3528 copier from Higgins Business Machines in the amount of $4,184. This purchase will be paid for with the recorder's record improvement funds.
And the last one, you got how many years out of?
12.
12. That's pretty good. So.
Yeah. Okay, and then secondly, requesting approval for the scanning and PDFA preservation of 14 PennDOT highway map books by Reynolds Business Systems in the amount of $13,474.99. This also will be paid for with recorder's record improvement funds.
Any questions for Beth?
I'll do it for half that.
Thank you, Beth.
Thanks.
GIS.
Good morning.
Morning, Janet.
I'm requesting approval for the payment of $3,726 to Civic Vanguard for repairs and maintenance to the GIS system that covers their cost from February through May of this year. It's a budgeted item.
Okay. Any questions for Janet? Thank you. The courts.
We're seeking approval for a one-year maintenance agreement for the law library copy machine from Hagan starting July 12th.
Any questions for Heidi? Thank you, Heidi. Greg, public safety.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Asking to approve the payment of $6,200 to Interact Insight Company, which is our vendor for our recording system, to create an API for the Eventide recorder and the CommScope software system. Also asking to approve the payment of $10,425 to Mobilecom to replace our building's intercom system, which is failing. We no longer have access to communicate with anybody at the front gate.
Okay.
And items C through G are all for the Sugar Lake Tower individually. Approve the quote for site and driveway excavation at the Sugar Lake site at a cost of $28,600. Approve the quote for the driveway culvert and entrance construction at a cost of $24,700. Approve the quote for stormwater drainage work at a cost of $25,000. And approve the quote for the provision of a gravel driveway and pad at the tower site at a cost of $14,500. And to top that all off, we're going to put fertilizer, lime, and grass seed there at a cost of $23,400.
Any questions for Greg?
I'm just amazed.
$24,000.
First of all, I'm glad to see this project
It's moving.
gaining momentum. I just cannot believe for a second that for fertilizer and grass seed, we're going to spend $23,000. And I'm sure we're required to do all that. I know that, but that's just amazing.
We had to buy the cows to produce the fertilizer.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that in my own yard. You know what I mean?
Any other questions for Greg pertinent to what he asked? All right, thank you. County maintenance.
Good morning.
Morning,
I know
Jen.
it's me.
We have some questions for you.
Oh, I'm excited. First, I'd like to ask approval to pay Otis Elevator. This is the final payment to make repairs to the motor for the courthouse elevator for $13,020.
Okay.
Next, approval to pay the Eads Group. This is for estimate 29 for Whiteman Road Bridge, which is bridge number 14, for $5,252.54, and this will be reimbursed by PennDOT, and then the 5% will be actually paid by the liquid fuels funds.
Okay.
C is ratify approval to authorize a time extension until 6/30 of 27, and this is for preliminary engineering phase on Dodie-Bill Road, which is Bridge 21.
Okay.
And ratify approval to pay Canada Security LLC to replace 4 port PoE switch and get remaining cameras online at the fairgrounds for $265.
Someone else had a question for Jen. Anybody? No? Okay. Thank you, Jen. Planning.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Zach.
The first 5 items this morning are involving the Crawford Inspired Mini Grant Program. First is a reimbursement to Conneaut Lake Joint Municipal Authority, the amount of $15,000 for their generator replacement for their N4 pump station project.
Okay.
Vernon Central Hose Company for $6,045 for their LED lighting update project. Westmead 2 Volunteer Fire Department for $11,438.16 for their countywide rope rescue response equipment project. The fourth is the Crawford County Fairgrounds Building Association for $1,215 for their horse and pony storage shed project. And then the last one was the Titusville Historical Society for $2,805 for their TC Joy and Company radiator exhibit project. We're starting to get a lot of these in. It's a mixture of this year's allocations and last year's, but they're starting to all finish up their projects or something. We're also asking for approval to pay an invoice to Moody and Associates in the amount of $25,790.19 for contracted project management services with the Cambridge Springs Play project. It's paid for out of that 137 funds.
Any update on timeline, Jimmy?
Yeah, we have a meeting later this next week, I think, and everything is clear in terms of environmental. It passed through phase 1. We don't have to do a phase 2, so we've saved a bunch of money on that process. We will have the hazardous materials back by our next meeting, and then we're just waiting on Fish and Boat to clear the NPDS, basically the notification that we had to send them. So once we
Fish and Boat for the nursing home in the middle of Cambridge.
Because there's a stream that goes adjacent to it that runs into French Creek.
Okay.
There were largemouth bass in the bathtub. It's just
That's good news though.
But yeah, so the Moody anticipates that the NPDS permit will be submitted to the Conservation District before the end of July. Depending on the Conservation District schedule, it could be 30 days, 60 days, we don't know. But they are anticipating that demolition will be this fall.
Right, I mean, it'll fundamentally change Cambridge Springs Borough. I've seen the design for the senior center. It's a really nice design. I mean, it's going to be a good thing. I mean, mainly because you're taking a structure down just unsafe. So it's exciting. So thanks for all the good work for that.
We're requesting approval of a whole home repairs contract with Crawford County Fuller Building Group and homeowner number 24 to repairs to their home. And then we're asking to ratify approval of a payment to Fuller Building Group in the amount of $22,307.71 for home repairs to homeowner number 5 for that same program.
Any other questions for Zach? All right, thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Human Services.
Good morning.
Morning, Sue.
I'm requesting approval of the MATP assurance of compliance for fiscal year 25-26. We have not yet received an initial allocation. Requesting approval of the F1 amendment to the fiscal year 24-25 CYS contract with Auberly for independent living services. This amendment is increasing the IL program maximum by $11,000 in order to cover their expenses for the end of the fiscal year. Requesting approval of the C2 amendment to the fiscal year 24-25 professional contract with Titusville Area Hospital for mobile psychiatric nursing wellness visits and rural health clinic outpatient services. This amendment is increasing the mobile psych nurse wellness visits maximum by $26,000 and decreasing the outpatient services by $9,000. This is increasing the total contract maximum by $17,000. It's necessary in order to cover the estimated invoices for April and June. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 25-26 CYS contract with Adoption Connection PA for foster care services. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 25-26 CYS contract with Crawford County Drug and Alcohol Executive Commission for individual and group therapy, assessments, case coordination, recovery support services, resource coordination, consultation, and CYS requested drug screens. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 25-26 CYS JP contract with Justice Works Youth Care for the Violation Initiative Program, Short-Term Outreach to Prevent Placement, Just Care, Why Try, Truancy Remediation and Diversion, and the Nurturing Parenting Programs. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 25-26 CYS contract with Marquis, Pennsylvania for foster care services. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 25-26 mental health contract with Mercer County Behavioral Health Commission for crisis intervention and delegate services. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 25-26 professional contract with Sugar Valley Lodge for enhanced personal care boarding home services. We currently have 2 Crawford mental health consumers located at this facility. And then I have the same rates as prior year contracts, CYS JPO, vocational and psychological services for evaluations, assessments, and court testimony, depositions, and write-up time. Mental health IDEI contracts with the Achievement Center of Lecom Health for family-based mental health services, and with Corey Counseling of Lecom Health for outpatient therapy, psychiatric evaluations, and medication management services. And professional contracts with Common Roots for the Chris Bell Furniture Closet, Titusville Area Hospital for outpatient therapy, intake diagnostics, nurse assessments, mobile psych nursing, psychiatric evaluation, and medication management. And finally, with Watson Pepicelli for attendance at mental health hearings.
Any questions for Sue? All right, Finance?
Good morning.
Morning, Stephanie.
For your approval, I have the following invoices. The first is to the United States Treasury. It's our 2024 Accord fee in the amount of $2,210.39. The second is to CYS. It's the Q3 2025 county match in the amount of $590,005.84. The third is to HSBG Early Intervention. It's the Q3 2025 county match in the amount of $56,161.34. The fourth is to Community Health Services. It is invoice number 188. It is their May 2025 trip reimbursement in the amount of $55,529. The fifth is to Active Aging. It is for their used 2016 Ford Edge in the amount of $6,500. The sixth is a subrecipient monitoring policy. It outlines the monitoring procedure for all grant subrecipients for Crawford County. Mayor Dussel and we discussed that with them during our audit procedures this summer. So it's one of the things we have to get wrapped up. So those are for your approval. For your ratification, we have an agreement with Susquehanna Accounting and Consulting Solutions. It's a contract for consulting services.
Any questions for Stephanie? Voter Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am requesting to ratify the purchase of a Dell Pro 14 laptop in the amount of $846.23. The laptop will be used just for printing ballots and will be purchased with election integrity grant funding.
Okay.
Next, I'm also requesting to ratify the purchase of 2 industrial battery-powered scissor lifts for the barn. They are priced at $2,612.20 each, with a total cost of $5,225.28. The lifts will be used out at the barn for moving boating equipment for Matt, and they are also going to be purchased with the integrity grant funding.
Good stop and segue for Chris to explain a little bit about why, because people, it's important that they know.
So for anybody who's familiar with our election barn, and our backs will certainly thank the purchase of these scissor lifts. Right now, and Matt would be the victim of this most often, of course, is the manner in which our election equipment is stored. Is it's on 3 successive shelves. One of them is about 5 feet off the ground or so. Yeah, and each one of these machines is quite heavy. And pulling them out, and when we do logic and accuracy twice a year in our regular maintenance schedules and all of that, we're moving upwards of 300 and some odd units, all taken into account with the printers and everything like that. And it's just not real ergonomically sound. We're doing a lot of twisting and we're doing a lot of upper bodies. So we all come back like in much better shape than what we went in. But really there's some danger with that. So these will allow us to just move this equipment a little safer. It's safer for the bodies moving and it's safer for the equipment. And we have the funding available to kind of make this very, what would seem minor, but I think in the long run will be a very substantial improvement to how we handle our election.
I think Brittany would agree they're much cheaper than one back injury. So
Yes.
so for anybody who's ever done it before, so it's just good that no one got hurt to this point. It's just nuts. So it's a good idea. Go ahead, Jessica.
Okay. Lastly, I am requesting to ratify the purchase of a Martingale high-speed letter opener in the amount of $1,718.89. This will also be purchased with election integrity grant funding.
Any questions for Jess?
Should we say anything?
Yeah, under A, I'd like to know what the operating system on that Dell computer is. Do you know?
And I'd like to know what the dimensions of that piece of equipment are.
No questions for you.
No questions.
HR.
I hope it's Windows 11.
It is Windows 11. And
There
it's
you go.
Matt bailed you out.
smaller than your laptop.
Those things, those scissor lifts are like 500 pounds each.
I'm requesting to approve the payment to P-CHIP in the amount of $8,668.50. This is to recoup Highmark credit from the 2024 ASO overbilling.
Okay. And the commissioners.
Requesting to approve the appointment of Kelly Davis to the Northwest Job Connect Board effective 7/9/2025.
Okay.
Approve the security contract with Valentis Group for the 2025 Crawford County Fair.
Okay.
And approve the artist booking contract with Synergy Erie LLC for Tyler Braden to perform at the 2025 Crawford County Fair.
Okay. Any questions for Courtney? Everybody's aware that these contracts from the fair are actually approved by the fair board, but they must be approved by the commissioners in order to be completed, and that's we're just catching up with some of their contracts. The upcoming events will be closed on July 4th. The next full session is July 9th. Next work session is July 16th. Any public comment? Commissioner comments, Commissioner Seal.
Sure. Well, thanks everybody again. As you know, Monday of this week, we rolled out the WebEx phone system. We sincerely appreciate employees and department heads for their continued patience and flexibility. I think we're still working out a few bugs here and there, but by and large, the rollout worked pretty well. And we just ask that if there are any issues, please let the IT guys know, and they'll get on it as quickly as they can. They're triaging quite a few things that came in, but they're making sure to cover everything. And so along those lines, I truly do want to thank. I know Matt's here, but none of the rest of the squad is here. I know we bust on these guys a lot, but they truly did work incredibly hard to put this into place. And it wasn't a choice we wanted to make necessarily, but it was one that frankly planned obsolescence, if you want to call it that, forced us to make in some regards. So we do again just thank their efforts. They worked tremendously hard to make sure that this worked as smoothly as possible with a lot of advanced work done. And we're truly gracious to have them on our team. So again, thank you all. For those who are in the room, of course, for your continued patience, and please let us know if there's anything we can do to help or improve your phone using experience. Thanks, everyone.
Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah, the IT department is the department that gets overlooked a lot as far as getting recognition for what they did, but they worked extremely hard on this phone project, and it seemed like it shaped up pretty good. So maybe a few flaws here and there, but they're getting that straightened out. Also, holidays coming up here real quick. Everybody be safe out there, okay? Enjoy your 4th of July.
Thank you. I would just like to add that as we approve these contracts, the contract for Tyler Braden, if you don't know who Tyler Braden is, I strongly suggest you look him up. A lot of people say they don't know who he is, but this is the fair's attempt to follow what the people want and have live entertainment there up the stage. The ticket sales are going okay right now, but I just suggest everybody that you have to support him, listen to him. He has some hit songs out there, but this is the fair's attempt to bring music back. And if this works, they will certainly head in the same direction in the future. But they're making a good decision. This is a smaller booking from the start. I mean, some of the booking from previous years were $200,000 and $300,000. This is not that booking. But I think it'll be a good show, and they have worked hard to find a lower tier start to their idea. But I just suggest you all try and support it, because if you don't support it, then it won't work, and they're going to have to stick with what works for them. So I appreciate the Fair Board for all they're doing. With that being said, though, if there's nothing else, we will see you next week, and have a good weekend. I have a resume for Kevin Gibbs.